Welcome to this daily PBJ devotional. Read Leviticus 27, Ecclesiastes 10, and Psalm 113 to follow the Old Testament reading schedule for this year. This devotional is about Ecclesiastes 10, 8 through 10, but I'll read all of Ecclesiastes 10 at this time. As dead flies bring a stench to the perfumer's oil, so a little folly outweighs wisdom and honor. A wise man's heart inclines to the right, but the heart of a fool to the left. Even as the fool walks along the road, his sense is lacking, and he shows everyone that he is a fool. If the ruler's temper flares against you, do not abandon your post, for calmness lays great offenses to rest. There is an evil I have seen under the sun, an error that proceeds from the ruler. Folly is appointed to great heights, but the rich sit in lowly positions. I have seen slaves on horseback, while princes go on foot like slaves. He who digs a pit may fall into it, and he who breaches a wall may be bitten by a snake. The one who quarries stones may be injured by them, and he who splits logs endangers himself. If the axe is dull and the blade unsharpened, more strength must be exerted, but skill produces success. If the snake bites before it is charmed, there is no profit for the charmer. The words of a wise man's mouth are gracious, but the lips of a fool consume him. The beginning of his talk is folly, and the end of his speech is evil madness. Yet the fool multiplies words. No one knows what is coming, and who can tell him what will come after him? The toil of a fool wearies him, for he does not know the way to the city. Woe to you, O land, whose king is a youth, and whose princes feast in the morning. Blessed are you, O land, whose king is a son of nobles, and whose princes feast at the proper time for strength, and not for drunkenness. Through laziness the roof caves in, and in the hands of the idle the house leaks. A feast is prepared for laughter, and wine makes life merry, but money is the answer for everything. Do not curse the king even in your thoughts, or curse the rich even in your bedroom. For a bird of the air may carry your words, and a winged creature may report your speech. This is God's word. Many of these later chapters in Ecclesiastes contain proverbs. Some are similar to those we find in the book of Proverbs. Others are unique. Here in Ecclesiastes 10, 8 through 10, we find a few proverbs related to work. Verses 8 and 9 tell us that virtually every job has some kind of risk or hazard to it. Whatever you do that brings income and blessing to you and your household can also harm you if you're not careful. I believe that is the point of these proverbs. Solomon's point was not just to observe that occupations have dangers to them. It was to warn every worker to be careful. If you spend a lot of time around pits that you've dug, or stones that you've quarried, or logs that you've split, you can become indifferent to the dangers they pose to your life and health. When you stop respecting the power of these things, you can get lazy with your safety habits and possibly injure yourself or someone else. A wise person never cuts corners on safety in his work. Instead, he respects the inherent power of the things he works with and is careful to do his work safely. Verse 10 pivoted to another aspect of work. That verse reminds us that you have to work much harder with inadequate tools than you do with the proper tools. The person who says, "I don't have time to sharpen this axe. There are too many trees to cut down," is a person who doesn't appreciate the power of a well-prepared tool. Instead, according to the third line of verse 10, more strength is needed. That is, if you don't understand the power of the right tool, you'll be the one supplying the power with your arms. The final line in verse 10 says, "But skill will bring success." And this line suggests that this verse is about more than just sharpening your axe. A sharpened axe is literally more effective. It is also a metaphor for a more skillful way to work. There is no virtue in using a handsaw when a circular saw is available. There is no virtue in churning your own butter, unless you like doing that for some weird reason or think it tastes better. But there's no virtue in churning your own butter when you can buy a stick or a tub inexpensively. There's also no virtue in learning by making mistakes when you could learn from others. A wise person is one who is trying to learn how to be more effective in less time at whatever he is attempting to do. God created us with the ability to learn and with the ability to think about your work carefully and creatively and innovatively so that you can be more effective and efficient at whatever it is you do. The Bible is a book about God, not about time management, business best practices, or personal success. But the Bible contains helpful information about these subjects because God cares about you and wants you to be effective and productive in addition to being honest and ethical. Are there any areas of your work or your life in general where you've been careless with safety precautions or where you've been working with a dull axe? Maybe it's time to stop working harder and start working smarter, just as God created you to do. I'll see you next time. May God bless you. Hope you have a great day today.